of public service and policy debate. He called you a public intellectual, which I think is an epithet that fits well, Harsha, with you. The issue, however, as you know, is that you go in with all the good intentions, but the road to hell is paved with them. And very soon you become part of that culture that, in a sense, subsumes you. You have engaged, you have paid out of your own salary to support projects that government agencies have left by the wayside. With your experience, Harsha, I mean, what will be the central issues you will champion in Parliament that you feel will not be, subject or hostage to this apathy or mission creep or whatever you want to call it as the days go on?
No, I mean, I wrote a comment and thanked Rohan for that, real nice. And of course, I got hammered on that.
Yes, you did.
And then, of course, I went back and quoted Buddha, and said, just don't attack people personally, we are talking issues, let's get down to issues. See, Rohan and I work closely, and Learn Asia, what we're trying to do is to bring evidence to the table. So policy making must be evidence-based. Right. So what I want to do, Sanjana, is also to bring that to in the
table it,
in Parliament, right? I mean, for instance, sometimes people may argue emotionally, look, reforms in electricity will hurt the poor, but there is no evidence to support that argument, right?
And conversely, to support counter-argument.
Counter-argument. What I'm saying, I'm just taking an example, right? So if I am able to, direct the debate based on evidence on the ground, right? Here is the evidence. Let's debate this, right? And through the committees, call the experts, get their views, and to somehow structure this debate now, just people just getting up and screaming with no substance at all, to one that is substance rich, the debate based on evidence. I think if I can make that little contribution, I know people expect me to do many things, and I want to do many things.
On what issues, Harsha, will you be focusing on? I mean, fiscal policy, you have a range of interest.
Yeah, I mean, it will definitely be fiscal policy for sure, because this fiscal profligacy has to stop. We cannot have 10% budget deficits and expect to grow at 10%. It will never happen, right? And this whole debt burden that we have, Greece already, just today the markets are crashing, right? And so that is one. Another one is technology. How do we bring information and communications technology to increase the rate of economic growth and development? How do we make the fruits of development, sort of equitably distributed via, the information technology tools that we have, particularly mobile phones and broadband, How do we do that? So that is also going to be one of my main issues, particularly to see how markets can be made efficient by using information and communications technology. So it can be agriculture markets, it can be land markets, it can be transport markets, what have you. And another one is going to be in agriculture particularly, right? On creating forward markets for agriculture to reduce the volatility in prices of agricultural produce, whether it be in Dambulla or elsewhere. So I want to move the process towards creating a commodities exchange, because in my view, the only sustainable forward pricing system will come from the market itself, not administratively set by some government officials sitting at the agriculture department. And how do we do that? So those three, I think, would be my main areas.
I'm going to do a Vasudevan Anakara on you. I know it's your maiden appearance after being a member of Parliament.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a hard question, Harsha, but one that it resonates actually with a number of us who are concerned about the ability of the opposition to be in opposition, to oppose. The strength, the vitality, the vigor, and the public confidence. You said earlier that there is actually a group, substantial, small but substantial group, that can make a difference. The media seems to suggest, or certain media seems to suggest, that there is both a crisis of leadership and writ large a crisis in the opposition, in its ability to oppose, in the classic parliamentary sense. Where do you stand on this?
No, I don't agree, because I know most of these people, I've known them before I got in last week.
And you worked with them?
I worked with them during the elections when I really got involved in politics as such, with the general's presidential campaign. Take the three groups. Let's start with the Democratic National Alliance, right? DNA. Yeah. And we got guys like Anura Kumara, we got guys like Sunil Handunetti and Vijita Herat, and others, who can really articulate, these arguments. If we can work together, they have a strength of they can speak a lot better than most of the others in opposition. So that's one group. Then we got the TNA. We got guys like Sumandran, brilliant lawyers who can really contribute. And of course, we got the old guard who can help support him.
Backstop.
And get the arguments out. And if you take our group, we got lots of new guys. You got the Buddhika Patrinas, you got the Manusha Nanakaras, you got the Ruwan Vijayawardhanas, you got the Sujiva Sena Singhas, and all the new guys, Rosi and Mohan Lal Grey.
Well, Rosi's not a guy, but
That's So what I'm saying is there are quite a lot of new people, dynamic people, young people, people who've been talking about issues, who are educated people, getting together. It is possible, right, to create this strong opposition.
Is there, as a consequence, a friction between the ancien regime and this new dynamism? The ancien regime being bogged down into a crisis and the forging ahead of people like you? Is there a friction there? Should there be a friction? If not?
There is a friction right now, right? It's known, right? But I think it is a transitory thing,
Where is it going to?
It's heading towards the more modern, more dynamic, progressive opposition, I believe. Because even the old guard, people who've been there 3-4 terms even, now sort of I see, in little mini groups at, perhaps in the canteen or, the opposition office, the older guys also come and sit with the younger groups and then want their advice and what do you think, how should we do this? So that process, I think, I see from the inside taking place, which I think is good. It's no longer, I say so, you better follow. I see more
a forward movement.
That's right. I see involvement, interaction, listening.
We're getting to the end of the program, so I want to get you on some specifics. Economics, post-war, 2010 beyond. We have the IMF in the mix. We have, as you said, very bad fiscal policy, arguably bad fiscal policy. Harsha, what do we do? What's the pivotal node, in a sense, that we need to fix to get it right? You believe one thing or two things?
Yeah, it is better fiscal.
What does that mean? Better means what?
Yeah, it means that the government must realize that it can't and it shouldn't be involved in everything.
Yeah,
it has to pull back. It has to concentrate on the things it needs to concentrate on. Defense, maybe, health and education to a certain extent, public goods, and let the private sector play, be it the local private sector or the foreign private sector, because unless that change happens, and it is a significant change for